Hello and welcome into another pregame show. Week 18, the final game of the regular season for the New York Jets. What is going on? Matt O'Leary alongside Connor Long of Jets X Factor. Connor, how's it going, my friend?
Matt, it's great to have you back. Good to hear you're fully healthy. Didn't miss much last week. 40-14 loss, really 40-0. Both touchdowns came in garbage time by way of backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor. But here it is: Jets limping to the finish line. Are 4-12 New York Jets host the division rival Miami Dolphins. Try to play spoiler and get the Bengals in the playoffs today with a win. Let's go Jets! No tank. Let's go out here and collect a win. Week 18. Let's go out on a high note, which has been a very disappointing season.
A very disappointing season indeed, but what is not disappointing, Connor, is today we will be joined by a very special
Yes.
guest on the post-game regular, or pre-game, I should say, on regular caller. Our guy, Doug on the couch, is on the couch and
There
joining
we go.
us for the pre-game. Doug, how's it going, my friend?
Not too bad, not too bad. Can't complain. Honestly, like the game is irrelevant to me. Like it would be cool to beat the Dolphins, but the way the early games are going, the Patriots hold on, then you lose, you get the better draft pick, and also like the easier schedule. But like you can't say an easier schedule because we don't know what teams you're going to be like next year.
Correct.
So honestly, the game to me, the game is like the least important thing about today. If that
Yep.
makes sense.
Yeah, so I'll pull it up because you mentioned it, and I think it's something we're gonna have to keep a close eye on
For
today,
sure.
which is the draft order right now,
Yes.
which the Jets have the 7th pick. Carolina is fighting it with right now with Atlanta. That score is, I believe, 17-7 at the half. Or about
Atlanta's driving, about to score. It looks like they just had a big play.
okay. So we'll keep an eye on that one,
sure.
obviously. New England is playing tough right now against the Bills. They're up 14-10 at the half. The Eagles are beating up on the Giants, so I don't know if that dream's going to come alive. And the Jaguars are actually hanging tight. They were down in this game, but it's 2013 Colts at halftime. So we're going to be scoreboard watching today, gentlemen. That's something that's going to happen here today.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Bucks fans. It was like 2015 all over again if I was a Bucks fan.
That's right. So Tampa Bay obviously needs this game. It's 16-6 Saints at the half. Very much feels like week 17. Todd Bowles up in Buffalo. Jets lose to get knocked out of the playoffs. Kind of a similar feel for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, losing to the 5-11 Saints right now at home too.
Crazy.
Yeah, I ultimately think if they don't win today, I think there's a strong chance that Bowles gets canned and they promote offensive coordinator Liam Cohen to be the next head coach.
I think the Falcons just went. Oh no, they didn't score. I thought they might have just scored. Sorry.
I can see that. I think if they miss the playoffs, that would be their opportunity to retain Liam Cohen, because if they stick with Bowles, Cohen's going to get hired somewhere else.
Agreed.
And with the emphasis on the offensive side of the ball, I don't know if they want to lose what he was able to do with Baker Mayfield.
So,
Yeah,
oh, sorry, Connor, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, really, Cohen kind of brings up a good point there to talk about the head coach search. Obviously, they're interviewing Rex Ryan on Tuesday, interviewed Mike Vrabel, Ron Rivera at the facility. You guys have any thoughts on the way process has kind of moved? NFL insider Josina Anderson said she expects Arthur Smith and Cliff Kingsbury to land interviews. You guys have any thoughts on what the Jets have done so far for the head coach interviews?
So in my head, and I think all of us agree, Vrabel's clearly the top choice for most Jets fans and all of us. Let's say we got Vrabel on the top of the ladder. Bottom of the ladder, I'm trying to think like who the worst. Matt Nagy's like worst case scenario, bottom of the ladder, that type of guy. Would you agree with that?
Spagnuolo, I'd say, but yeah, Matt Nagy's up there.
I don't think Spagnuolo's ever going to leave that Chiefs DC job, because if he hasn't been a coach again, why would he now? And that DC, he gets paid. Yep. I think he's one of the top paid coordinators anyway, so there's no really incentive for him to leave. But so, point being, though, top is Vrabel, bottom of the rung is Nagy. I'd also put Rivera like right below Nagy, with the caveat if he gets Woody to sell a team, he moves way up on the list because he's an owner killer. So
that's right.
He has that slight asterisk. He's only great if he gets Woody somehow to sell a team.
Of course.
I like that.
So I might be delirious, but right now I'm feeling good about where we're at with Vrabel. The only thing that worries me with Vrabel, I think we're better looked than the Raiders. I think the Bears, they really want Ben Johnson. So I don't think The ones that worries me would be if the Patriots get rid of Mayo. That would be the one that would worry the most. If the Patriots get rid of Mayo, I don't think we get Vrabel. That would be the one that worries me the most about Vrabel.
Yeah, especially because of the connection, right, that he has with
sure.
England, obviously, as a former player. And that'd be a really good situation. I mean, depending on how things go today, they could end up with the number 1 pick. They have Drake May. They're going to have a ton of cap space. So that is definitely an appealing spot. But I like that they were able to talk to Vrabel first and that it was at the team facility. Apparently, none of the other interviews that he'll take will likely be at the facility. It's going to be in Florida, where he's based.
Yep.
Which I thought that was a pro for the Jets. Rivera doesn't move me. Rex, I want to keep reiterating. I love Rex for 2009 and 2010, but I just don't want to go backwards with the Rex.
I'm with you on that, Matt. I said it yesterday on Jake's show. Unless you're guaranteeing me Rex undoes the lap band and comes back fat, I don't want him as a coach.
Yeah, I'm staying far away from Rex. Rex is someone, Ron Rivera gets bashed a lot for not having success recently, but I mean Rex Ryan is someone who hasn't had a winning season since 2010. Basically took the Jets, gave them a spark of energy, brought them to back-to-back AFC Championship games. Don't get me wrong, he's a hero in the Jets organization as he should, but then he goes into Buffalo at the end of his coaching career, 2 seasons, which was what I'd say was with a very, very talented roster. Did nothing, couldn't bring them to the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. I'm staying away from Rex Ryan right now. I think a really interesting candidate is Cliff Kingsbury. I've been talking about him a lot. 9 games under 500. Head coach, brought a team to the playoffs. Something I think could be really fun next year is Kingsbury head coach, Brian Johnson offensive coordinator, Justin Fields quarterback. You look what Brian Johnson and Kingsbury have been able to do with, Johnson, most of his work came with Jalen Hurts. Kingsbury's the quarterback whisperer. He's worked with every quarterback at the pro and college level. Caleb Williams, Johnny Manziel, Pat Mahomes, all at the college level, pro level, Jaden Daniels, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels, the 2 guys he's worked with at the pro level, all have a very similar skill set to Fields. I would be really intrigued to see what Fields could do with a really, really strong quarterback coach and a great offensive system.
I feel you on Kingsbury. My only thing on Kingsbury, he's never been a winner really anywhere he goes. He had that 1 playoff season he had with the Cardinals. But you said it. Look at the quarterback talent he has. At Texas Tech, I don't think he ever went above 7-5 or 8-5.
Let me check.
So he was never a great record. At USC, I think it was more Lincoln Riley that did anything than Caleb.
Yeah, he was an offensive analyst. Yeah, he did.
So he didn't really do much there. So I don't. And then Kyler Murray, he hit a wall. So I'm not saying he hasn't done great with QBs. But he never has really had more than an 8-win season, I think, in college. I could be wrong, but double check me on that. But I don't think he ever had more than an 8-win season. And he just had that 1 playoff season with the Falcons and Cardinals. And they started out 10-0 that year, and then they just hit a wall.
Yep.
So I am on board with getting a guy who has been a head coach, though, before. That's my preferred pathway. I don't want to go with the trendy coordinator anymore. I don't want to do it. Would Ben Johnson be cool? But the way Ben Johnson's talking, he thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Exactly.
And he better be great, by the way, because with how he's handling this whole how it's playing out with where he might end up as a head coach and being so picky as he is, the pressure is going to be on him immediately to perform.
Exactly. And if we're going with the Lions coordinators, I could see us getting more Aaron Glenn because of the backgrounds, and he isn't as the trendy guy.
Yeah,
I guess I could live with it. And then it all depends on who he hires to be his OC.
Yeah, I think what it looks like is Aaron Glenn's the head coach of this team. Ray Agnew's the general manager. Tanner Engstrand is an interesting name to watch for OC, Detroit's passing game coordinator. Kelvin Shepard, Detroit's linebackers coach, could be an interesting candidate for DC. I think it's basically we're going to hire Glenn as head coach. Glenn obviously has the connection with the Jets, 8 years, first-round pick in 93. And then he was a personnel scout 2 years after he retired. And then Agnew's connected to the Jets in the sense that his son is in his 8th season with them as a pro scout. So there's 2 connections there, and then Glenn basically takes the two best players, 2 best positional coaches, and then basically promotes them into a coordinator role on each side of the ball. That's what I see happening. I would be fine. I would love Vrabel. I'd love Flores. I would be on board with Glenn. If they're going to go a first-time route, I think Glenn is their best option. Again, Kingsbury would intrigue me. An interesting one here before we really get into previewing today's game is Arthur Smith. Josina Anderson included him in the list. Yeah, I see you. I see you shaking your head there. 3 seasons as the Falcons head coach, 21-30. if you really think about it, he might not be the most attractive name on the market, and I'm not campaigning for the Jets to hire him, but he checks a lot of boxes that we're looking for. Work with quarterbacks, head coach experience, and an offensive mind. Like, those are the three things that he's checked. You look what he's done with the Steelers offense this year, kind of the resurgence with Russell Wilson and their whole offensive unit.
Have you watched the Steelers since they've gone on the losing streak? Russell Wilson's hit a wall.
I know. I'm just saying he checks boxes overall.
Yeah. No,
he does. He has the head coaching experience. Yeah. He had the success in Tennessee. I'm not going to lie to you. After 2020, I thought he was a really promising head coaching candidate for what he did with that Tennessee offense, but clearly it didn't go well in Atlanta. And he had a lot of pieces. Like, I know after that first, he had like the corpse of Matt Ryan and then Desmond Ridder, I think the 2 other years that he was the head coach with the Atlanta Falcons, but they had so many playmakers and it just felt like he couldn't scheme up anything, utilize these guys very well. So that scares me a little bit. And I think Doug brings up a good point with what's going on in Pittsburgh. Offensively, they've been horrible for like the last month.
Awful. And I know you can say you get Pickens got hurt, but like that just shows he's not able to scheme around when like some of his key players get hurt. That's not a guy you want running the offense. Like I said, Vrabel's the top choice for me. I'd be happy with Flores. I really don't want a first-year guy. I think if we wanted to go with another guy who could maybe consider it a second one, Todd Monken would be another guy for me. I just don't know if he wants to leave Baltimore, but I would be interested in going Todd Monken. And then if we do go first-time offense coordinator, I'm more Liam Cohen than Ben Johnson because Liam Cohen's not acting like, oh, he's the best thing since sliced bread. And I just know if we had somehow ended up with Ben Johnson, we just know that will end terribly. I just get that feeling because like everyone's saying, he's the guy. And I can just see it crashing and failing terribly. So I have one question before we get into the game.
Of course.
If each unit completely healthy, defense and offense, who is back next year? We know 4 or 5 offensive linemen are back. Running back, your running back, pretty much you're probably going to have most of the same running back room. Wide receiver 1 is back. You don't know anybody at tight end. Maybe wide receiver 2. I don't know. I don't know if there's a wide receiver 2 on the roster right now. And then on defense, I would say JJ's back. Will McDonald, Quinnen, all back. With Salah gone, Solomon Thomas isn't coming back. I would like Sherwood to come back, but you don't know yet. Quincy Williams is a definite. Then you have Sauce, and that's it on defense. Oh, and Michael Carter.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on who's the head coach because one of the biggest things is they're going to need to find a head coach and then boom. I think that's why I expect the process to move quickly. I think I looked up the other day, I think it was yesterday, when they hired their most recent head coaches. Gase, I think, was January 14th. Bowles and Salah, I believe, were on the 16th. So the process, I'd expect a head coach in here in the next 2 weeks or so. And I think the biggest thing, especially if you bring in a defensive mind for the defensive side of the ball, because I think the schematical focus here is going to be on defense. You have to find players that fit that defensive scheme because there's a good chance that Jamian Sherwood, who's a free agent, does not fit a Mike Vrabel or Aaron Glenn scheme. There is a good chance that Brendan Eccles does not fit a Mike Vrabel or Aaron Glenn scheme. I think you re-sign Sherwood. He gets a nice 3 to 4 year deal. I'd bring Eccles back on a 2 or 3 year extension. As for the kind of on the offensive side of the football now, I want Morgan Moses back, but not as a starter. I have to look at some of the free agent options there, but I want him back as a backup next season on a 1 year deal.
If we got the 6th, we're at 7th pick right now. Say we move over. If we're at 7th pick, how would you feel if they took Campbell or Kelvin Banks? Would you be mad at that, or would you want them to take more position of need? So then you just have a young offensive line, and hopefully it's set for the next few years.
I'm going to be honest. I just finished the quarterbacks for this year's class. So I'm not deep into all those guys. Right now, I would say a defensive player, though. So Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Will Johnson, Michael Williams, Malachi Starks. Because maybe if they want to go safety that high, because I think the whole safety room is out. All 4 of those guys are free agents.
I'd agree.
Maybe you bring Tony Adams back on his ROFA tender for less than $1 million. But for the most part, I think the whole safety room you're going to just clean house there.
Yeah, I would go defense also. And I think I'd go defensive line, either Mason Graham or Abdul Carter. But it would be very, very hard for me to get mad if the Jets took an offensive tackle and we're like, we just want to go with a young and protect the next quarterback, whoever that is, long term. I am very keen on bringing Morgan Moses back. I get it. He's been banged up. But I think my plan for right tackle would be to bring Moses back and add a tackle in like the second or third round to sit and develop behind him for a season.
I like that. But yeah, so there's just I agree with both of you. You just don't know until who the coach and the GM is going to be, what they want to do, how they want to change the team. It's crazy how much expectations we came into this season and how it's pretty much going to be an entirely different team next year.
Yeah, for sure. An interesting name. I'm trying to pull it. I watched a few of his games. I'm trying to get it up here on the screen so I get the exact name. I believe his name is Gary Zebel, right tackle. He's an interesting name if you want to go with him. I think the third round is where a lot of people were putting. It's either North Dakota or South Dakota State where he goes to college. Is
it a rabbit or is it a bison as the logo?
I honestly don't. I just know the college name.
North Dakota State.
North Dakota State. Yeah, Gary Zebel, the tackle. He's an interesting name because I think he could pretty much play both left and right tackle. So he provides some depth there, and I think the offensive line depth too is a concern. Not only getting 5 starters in place, like we saw what happened when Carter Warren and Max Mitchell came in last week. I think Mitchell's going to be cut. I think Warren, you wait one more year, keep him on the roster. He's under contract. See what he could do another year as a backup, but it's a mess right now.
But I will say, for the first time in a while, you don't feel like, oh my God, the Jets have so much work to do on the offensive line, which is a good building point or selling point for a coach. It's like you see they when healthy, Fashanu, he's the guy. John Simpson, give Joe Douglas credit, was a great one of his actual good signings. Joe Tippmann maybe needs to fix snapping a little bit, but otherwise he's looked like a good center. Guard Elijah Vera Tucker, he's finally been healthy this year, or mostly healthy. You see, he's good. And then right tackle, it's Morgan Moses or veteran free agent or a draft pick there. And then
I'm with you on that. I think that's the way to go. But as you point out too, like 4 out of the 5 pieces being here and being 27 years old or younger is a really, really good building block. Like I'm going to look this year obviously is an abject failure and a disgusting season. But if you're trying to find silver linings, I think that has to be one of them.
And also, I'm pretty sure we have a good amount of cap space going into next year. I could be wrong.
Especially if you cut Devontae, because I think Rodgers is going to retire. You're going to have to owe him $49 million. What I'd do with the Devontae situation is I would cut him post June 1, eat the $2 million in dead cap, and then you create $36 million in cap room. Like I think that's a very, very interesting scenario.
I'm still pro keeping Devontae Adams. I mean, I know it's harder to imagine him without Rodgers, but if you can find a way to keep him here, I am still, because you saw he's still productive.
He can play. That I was going to say, it's going to be really dependent on if he's okay staying here without Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know if that's going to be.
I think with Tyrod as a starter, he'd feel more comfortable if it's like a new guy, personally. I don't know, because I know Tyrod's not the best, but he's a veteran guy. He knows what he's doing. I don't think he wants to start over with a rookie. Like if the new coach comes in and says, you know what, I love Jordan Travis. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. It's like, I love Jordan Travis. I want to give him the run. Then I feel like, okay, goodbye, Devontae. It's been a good time. Thank you for trying. It was an abject failure. But if he's like Tyrod or maybe Justin Fields, which like Connor, I feel like with a more guy who's seasoned and actually has played games, he'd give it a try. And then that's my mindset with Devontae. Because I agree, like not with Rodgers, you can still see Devontae Adams is still a good player. So that's not a guy you want to get rid of, but I understand if they do get rid of him.
Yeah, I was looking at the quarterback free agency class. So I want someone who's seasoned. I've been going Tyrod Taylor 2025 for a while now. I think he's the best option from a financial standpoint, and he's still able to play like an average quarterback in this league. Statistical wise, I think Fields is their best option, but I'm looking, and there are options in free agency here. I'm just gonna rip off a few names. I mean, I don't know if these guys could be elite starters, but potential bridge options. I mean, Kyle Allen, Pasternak, Josh Dobbs, Garoppolo, Carson Wentz, Winston, Fields, Andy Dalton, Drew Lock, Marcus Mariota, Taylor Heineke, Jacoby Brissett, Trey Lance, Cooper Rush, just to name a few. Like there are names out there.
Josh Dobbs is only good when he comes into a game, not when you know he's starting a game.
Exactly.
There's like a 1% chance it happens, but I am so pro bringing back Sam, but it's not going to happen. I don't think
he's in any world. I don't see him coming back here.
I think the Vikings are going to pay him and they're going to trade JJ, because I was talking to the people at work. You know, Sam's still only 27 years old. He's super young. And
agreed.
Once you get a guy who works for you and you see what it can do, Why would you get rid of him? That just makes no sense. But there was the thing that Jay Glazer said today about Kevin O'Connell.
Oh, yes.
About trading people potentially trading for him. If I was the Jets, I'd immediately give up our first round pick.
1,000%.
Easiest decision ever.
Because that fixes so many things for you. I know people are scared of giving up capital for a head coach, and like it's a little bit unorthodox, but he's proven to be one, just a good overall coach, and number two, a good offensive mind, and has had success with two different quarterbacks, an older Kirk Cousins, and also revitalized Sam Darnold's career.
I think they're going to ask for multiple first-round picks for him if he's on the trading block.
Yeah, whoever wins tonight is going to be the head coach of the year. So
yeah, probably.
So like it'd be crazy not to. That like Connor, you tweeted about it. That's like the thing that he brought up with Stefanski. We got into a little debate about if the Browns fire Stefanski. I agree with you. I'd want him in a second, but they would just be so idiotic to do that. You don't fire a guy who was literally coach of the year last year. And like I said to Connor yesterday, no matter what level you are, and no matter what sport you're on, losing just gets to you.
Yes.
Gets to you, and it's just going to affect the locker room. I don't think the Browns were so down because Stefanski was a bad coach. I think they were so down because they made the playoffs this year. They had pretty much the same roster, and they just everything like similar to us, like everything that could go wrong for them this year went wrong for them, and that just affects players. It's like, man, we thought we had it, and they just didn't.
Agreed, for sure. I see that 1,000%. I think it would be really dumb for them. I agree to let Stefanski shake free. I thought, at least they put points on the board yesterday. I thought if it was just like a 40-0 beatdown, I thought there was potentially a chance. And, they put a different quarterback on the field basically every possession. It was like, Zappy's getting the start. Nope, DTR is coming in. 2 possessions later. Nope, Zappy. It was like a carousel of quarterbacks.
I don't think you can blame him for the quarterback problem.
No, that was Dorsey's fault. And it's good
Dorsey's
that he was fired.
fault.
Honestly, if you bring in like a Liam Cohen, I would not mind Dorsey as OC for the Jets. That's just my opinion. If you bring in an offensive-minded head coach, someone who has play-calling experience.
Jake was saying it yesterday on his show. The only coach I'm okay with you hiring before the GM is Vrabel. That's the only coach who I was like, if you want, because the Chargers did it last year with Harbaugh. The 49ers did it with Shanahan. If you're confident that Vrabel's the guy, and it's like if he just like you finish the Rooney compliant roles, and like Vrabel paycheck, we'll sign to it right now. Do it, and then he has input on the GM. It's not like he's picking the GM. It's more like, hey, this is a guy who I think I can work with well. You do it. You do it.
I think it's a good sign if they interview Ryan Cowden next week once the season ends. I think that is a really good sign if they interview him. Also,
last thing about, and then we get into the game. I know that's what people. But you brought up like other coaches and the Jets hiring them later. If you want guys from the Vikings or the Lions, you're potentially going to have to wait because whoever wins tonight, you're going to see teams request. So if it's the Lions who's going to win tonight, you're going to see everyone request for Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
Or vice, and then they do like the Zoom interview this week first, and the same happens if the Vikings win tonight. A lot of people are going to try and interview Flores probably.
Of course.
So that's the advantage you got when you fired everybody so early. You can now get these guys in. So if it is Vrabel, like it could happen very quickly, which would be awesome.
It would be a lot of fun. Let's get into some of the call. We have a caller on the line, and let's get into some of the comments in here. I see the chat popping off. So let's go out to our guy, legend of the show. B-Man is hanging with
me. Here he is.
What's up? What's up, Matt? How you doing?
Good.
How was your New Year, Ben?
It's been great. I have some news to share with you that I think you will enjoy. Ready for this?
What?
You know what I was drinking yesterday?
What? Coquito?
Coquito, baby. I had a glass of Coquito. I thought of my good friend V-Man.
Matt, you're
no, that's good. I guess I've had an all right New Year. So, dealing with Puerto Rico power outage, some crazy drunk tourist from Missouri burnt down a bar, and they let her get, and the police let her get away. It's rough for my people.
Sorry to hear that,
Matt. You're a Curb fan, right?
Of course.
If you want, I could send you the GoFundMe to help rebuild their bar because they're nice people who don't deserve suffering.
Yeah, send me the link. I'll send
throw it in the chat.
Yeah, I'll throw it in the chat. But yeah, so now I'm just glad that the season's over because it's been an utter total nightmare. It's like and I agree with you. Got to hire. If you're gonna hire Vrabel, you hire him before the GM so that he can get his pick of.
Oh no!
B-Man, we're losing.
Is this thing glitching? Did I glitch out for a second?
Going once, going twice.
You're glitching here.
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Let me move to a different spot.
Matt, but you know the rules. You can't say.
Let me move to a different spot. Is that better?
Now you're better, B-Man.
Is that? Yeah, I guess my bar is a bit of a dead zone right now. Yeah, but like I said, yeah, I agree with Vrabel being the only guy that you would hire if you want to hire before a GM. You know, it's important because I do think he's the cream of the crop. I think he gets I think some haters on him right now don't realize how bad Tennessee is right now. I mean, their slop, you look at their penalty rates per game went up after he left. You look at they have more blow in this year as they had last year, and they're just ugly, they're sloppier, and they're less disciplined than they were the year before. And that's the best way to tell how coaches is when they're no longer there. Case in point, when you look at the Patriots, when Dante Scarnecchia left, that offensive line collapsed. And you look at the Titans since Vrabel's gone. I mean, some Titans.
He's fired after back-to-back losing seasons, and their roster is one of the worst in the league. We have to put that into perspective as well.
Yeah, the roster's not good. He's to take the old Parcells notion of cooking it ingredients. How can you expect a chef to cook you an excellent steak when you give him a slab of rotten meat?
Yeah, exactly.
Good point.
Solid.
No, so what's the state of the Jets drafting spot? What's the best case scenario for them looking to be?
Third or second or third, Matt?
The way
third, right?
Sorry. Are the Patriots still winning? I wasn't just checking. If the Patriots are still winning right now and the Jets lost, we would be last in the division. So we would at worst, I think we'd move up to 6 right now, the way it is.
So the Falcons are up on the Panthers, so that dream might be dead. But looking around some other spots, Jaguars still down 7 against the Colts. The Bills have taken the lead over the Patriots, so that one's kind of dead. They're probably going to end up picking 6th if they lose.
I'd say 8th, 6th, 7th, or 8th, somewhere in that area. I think at the highest, I think I could possibly see them going is 5. I say between 5 and 9 is kind of the floor to ceiling there for me.
Yeah, no. All right. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to really matter with this game. So I can't tell. So what's the state for the Dolphins in this game? Have they already been eliminated?
Yeah, no. If they win and the Broncos lose, they are in the playoffs. But no Tua Tagovailoa for the second week in a row. Tyler Huntley will get the start again for Miami.
Okay, so what do you think's gonna win? What do you think's gonna win out? The Jets' suckitude or the Dolphins' inability to win in the cold?
Tough
That's
call.
tough. I think Miami wins.
I don't know. I do not know. They haven't. I mean, I would just like to see us end the Dolphins playoff hopes because I think that'd be fun. And I don't know why I have the vibe Chiefs are going to win.
I hate the Dolphins.
I get the vibe the Chiefs are going to win, and I'd rather see the Bengals in versus the Dolphins. Oh, sorry. Man.
V-Man, you're cutting out. We're going to let you go. But
yeah.
What they're saying, I think the Bengals are like that 1-7 seed that can actually go into Buffalo because they've proven they can do it. Go into Buffalo and go into Kansas City and actually win. So I don't think the Chiefs want the Bengals in the playoffs. That's the team they definitely don't want in.
The only way I think the Bengals could win, and it's possible, but they'd have to win in a shootout. That defense has stunk all year.
But Joe Burrow's been so good. That's the thing.
Yeah,
MVP level.
And he's proven he can go into these stadiums and go into these places and win when the Bills have a better team and the Chiefs have a better team. So that's why it's the Chiefs are hoping do we really want to win this game?
Yeah, I mean, who would they rather play? I think if your options are the Bengals, the Dolphins, or the Broncos,
Dolphins.
Give me the Dolphins, or I would say the Dolphins, then Bengals. Excuse me, no.
Dolphins, Broncos, and Bengals are far and away a distance.
Yeah, I would say if the Dolphins play the Bills and the Bills are at home, I think that would be an absolute blowout.
Massacre.
Yeah, that would be, especially if Tua's not playing.
Even if Tua plays.
Yeah, it's still going to be a blowout. That's 4-score blowout for sure, especially in in Buffalo. Ultimately, what I think happens, I think the Bengals get into the playoffs. At least I hope they do. I think they deserve it. This is a team that had such high expectations again this year and just got off to a rough start. And it's crazy to think it's so different in, football, baseball, basketball, where there's 82 and 162 games where it's like, okay, you want to go ahead and you get off to a rough start. That's okay. You still have so many games. Like, you get off to an 0-3 start in the NFL. There's a chance you're already digging yourself into such a deep hole to potentially make the playoffs. Like, you need to come out fast. And that's the opposite of what the Bengals did. And they have talent on the roster. Now they're just trying to crawl into the playoffs as a 9-8 team. But I think they're the team that once they get into the dance, they can do whatever. I think that's one of those teams. Like, all that matters is that they get in. It doesn't matter if they're the 7th seed or the 1st seed. Like, once they get in, they're able to dominate. So I think for them, it's about getting in. The Dolphins, on the other hand, if they want to win a playoff game for the first time since 2000, they need to be like the 1 seed. They need to go. They need to go. God. Yeah, they need to go undefeated. They need to have a bye. Yeah.
real quick before you guys get into the next caller, Wild Wave. Just what you're saying with the 8. You can't see what the Jets cap space is going to be like because there's going to be a lot of changing and a lot of stuff. So the $8 million cap space is not even close to what the Jets' actual cap space will be because there's going to be cuts, there's going to be moves. That number is going to change a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Right now, going into next year, they're projected for $31 million in cap space. They could double that essentially by cutting Devontae Adams, as Connor explained before. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the hit with Rodgers you're going to have to deal with, but there's other ways that they can create some more room and the draft well too.
Yeah,
and you could push Rodgers' money into 2026 if you really want to.
The cap in the NFL is a myth. That's like the only sport where the cap in the NFL is so easily to manipulate. It's a myth.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into some questions in the chat. Smash the like button, everyone. Make sure you are subscribed to both of our channels at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight. Jets Talk will start it off with Matthew Frank. Is Tannenbaum sitting in on these interviews? Ultimately, he's going to make recommendation to Woody. Matt, I'm pretty sure, Matt and Doug, I'm pretty sure that Tannenbaum and Spielman are attending these interviews.
Yeah, I would think so, right? Like, why else would you hire these guys in this duo if you're not going to have them be in on the interview? My understanding was that they would give their recommendations to Woody Johnson, and I would assume that has that they would be involved in the interview process.
I think it's similar with like when we had Casserly and Wolf involved in it, but like these guys actually have a proven track record of doing this, unlike Casserly and Wolf did. Like, didn't they help last year in hiring one of the GMs and head coaches? Or
Washington, yeah.
Spielman did, not Tannenbaum.
But still, the same group in general. And
yes,
I gotta say that worked out pretty well last year for Washington. Look where they are now. So, who knows? But yeah, I'd imagine they're in the rooms.
Yeah, we got a super chat here from V-Man that'll cut the line, $5. Appreciate you, V-Man. When the fish lose, I'll post a gif of Bill Clinton playing the saxophone to remind them who was in the White House last time they won a playoff game. Mark Sanchez won more playoff games in his first 2 seasons than the Dolphins have since Bill Clinton was president of the United States.
Hate to see it.
You really do.
I mean, I think so. Let me try to do the math here. 2000. I'm 13 now. Dolphins haven't won playoff game in almost like a little less than double my lifetime.
That's crazy. That makes me feel very old too. But.
Yeah, that makes me feel old. I was 3 the last time they won a playoff game.
So when was it? 2000?
January. Was it? I think it was late January. I think late December.
Was it the 2000 season or was it the 1999 season and they won it in 2000?
I think it was pretty sure it was the 2000 season and Dolphins. January of 01, which means
then I was 3.
Kindergarten Matt O'Leary.
I was 3.
They beat the Indianapolis Colts in the 2000 AFC wildcard game 23-17.
So that'll be 2001 then, correct?
Yeah,
no, it's just the year. The year was 2001.
Yeah, the year was 2000. It was the 1999 season.
Oh, so then I was 2.
Even worse. Okay.
I was 2.
Yeah, Jesus. Wow. I mean, Jets can get made fun of 14 years no playoffs, but at least the 2 most recent times they've been in the playoffs, they made it to the AFC Championship game.
I would do so many things just to get back in the playoffs, man. It's just such crazy how you they're like I mean, I know we've had some good years. Question, because you're a big hockey fan too, Matt. Would you rather be a Jets fan or a Sabres
fan? That's brutal. I don't think the Sabres are getting out of this anytime soon. I don't really see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Like at least we had 2015 where we had that hope, And then like the Sabres fans will say, "Oh, we had 2 years ago." But like you see what the Sabres do. Like every good player they have, they give like Eichel went on to Vegas, win the cup. Reinhart gone on to Florida and dominate.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I would say Jets just because I care way more about football than I do.
Yeah, I get that, but like in terms of like suckitude, they're both pretty bad.
Yeah, for sure.
And let's not follow their recipe of hiring their old.
Oh yeah,
Lindy Ruff.
Lindy Ruff's been so rough this year. He's been awful.
Yeah, that's why you gotta get away from Rex Ryan, someone who hasn't had a winning season in 14 years. Hasn't coached in 9 years, by the way. Too. Throw that in there as well.
That's one thing. And then we'll get into like the next caller comment. When people say they don't like Reddick, they'd be like, "Oh, he hasn't been in the office." I would say the guy who you could compare to him as a pro that worked would be John Lynch. Like, look what he's done. He went right from the TV booth and been great. But if you want to say, I don't think it will work, Mike Mayock would be the other comparison. So.
Yeah, I think Riddick got an interview with the Jets because did Woody Johnson or anyone just scan his Twitter page of what he said about Jet fans or just listen to him on TV for about 30 seconds? Like, Woody Johnson is the only dumb owner in the league who would give a GM candidate an interview after he's gone on the record bashing not only Jets but Jets fans time in and time out. Like, no other owner in the NFL would do that.
They just put out Zach Rosenblatt, or probably the Jets just tweeted the inactives. If you guys want to put that up. Yeah,
let's get that up. Stand by.
Sorry to interrupt you, Connor.
All good. Here we are. Let me get this up
on the screen while we're talking about it too.
Yeah, I got you. Here it is.
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
So no Morgan Moses again. So you're with Warren and Max Mitchell. So Aaron Rodgers might get killed today in his last game as a Jet.
Yeah, so Michael Carter II, Fedarian Mathis, he was I think he was a second-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. He was
the guy we just picked up. So
they just picked him up. Him and Jamin Davis just picked up, so nothing there.
So maybe they just don't know the schemes yet, and it's like those are more moves for next year, which I'm okay keeping those guys. I think you get two young guys, Jamin Davis. I know he's a former first-round pick, athletic freak. I think those are guys who are going to get signed to future reserve contracts like tomorrow.
Yeah. Riverboat Ron sign? Question mark?
No.
Because those were two guys that he drafted. I just thought it was funny. Like the week they were going to talk to him, they signed two guys that he drafted in Washington. I was like, read the tea leaves a little bit.
Yeah. I was talking to I had Antoine Staley on my show. He said from what he heard, the Ron Rivera interview went very well, but it's a long shot for him to get the job. I like him as a DC, so I was thinking like interview McCown too for the head coaching job because I would love him as an OC. Just get their thoughts on what they would do from a day-to-day operation standpoint, and then maybe you reconsider them.
If you can get Flores, and with Flores you can like somehow convince, hey, you want to bring McCown over here, then I'd be even more for Flores. But I just don't know if McCown wants to leave, especially if they stay with Sam, because him and Sam have such a great relationship from them playing here together and then just being his OC or QB coach. He's a QB coach, right? Or is he the OC?
He's QB coach right now, but he interviewed for the Texans head coaching job in 2020 when he was coaching high school football the year before. The year after he retired, he interviewed for a head coaching job when all he had was high school experience at the coaching level.
If you can get Flores and be like, hey, McCown, we want to give you the upgrade in the job and be the Jets OC, then that would make Flores even more enticing because I think McCown as an OC would be great.
I mean, Wes Phillips, there's a shot that he gets the head coaching job. There's potential that he ends up landing a job somewhere. So maybe if he gets a head coaching job somewhere, maybe like the Saints job, one of the worst openings available. I think actually probably the worst opening available.
They're in cap hell.
Yeah, I think Glenn's also a front runner there. He's an interesting name.
I think Glenn goes to us or the Saints just because of the ties he has to the Saints, and just I wouldn't be surprised if he's like, I can work with this. I know their defense still has some good pieces, but their offense is a mess, especially with the Carr contract.
Yeah,
it's just what do they do?
I think he's going to come to the Jets. The Saints, if Wes Phillips somehow gets the job, anyways. Back to my point, I think McCown would rather take a promotion in Minnesota as their OC than come back here and become the OC. That's what I think. I think McCown would prefer that. Stay with Sam, stay with the thriving offensive unit, than rather come here where he played and try to establish himself as an OC. That's what I think McCown would prefer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyways, Matt, you want to go back to the phone lines?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go to 4 and 13 question. Oh, I saw him backstage, and now his screen. There he is.
No, I'm back. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't didn't think I'd be the first caller. I'm doing some laundry right now. But anyways, if I were to tell you guys that we were going to be 4-13 over under, what would your thoughts be on that at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I would say there's no freaking shot. Like even the biggest Jets haters, I don't think could have come up with 4-13. If they wanted to say like, it wasn't going to work, maybe 8-9, 9-8, but 4 wins for this team is just unreal.
I would have said to you, everyone on the team got hurt. That's how.
Yes.
Like everyone on the team everyone who mattered on the team got hurt. That's how.
I would have said all 5 offensive linemen got hurt in week 1 and were out for the season, and it was 5 backup offensive linemen. Wes Schweitzer was playing center. Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Somehow they had to sign some. Somehow, Drew Lock came in as the Jets starting quarterback. The defense just played the way they've been playing. Somehow Matt dug in 4-13. They're actually they're ranked the 5th total defense so far this league.
That means
5th best defense in the league.
Yardage,
it means nothing yet. Yards allowed. And here's an interesting stat. Have you guys heard of DVOA?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I use it all the time. Let me try to pull up where they rank here in defensive DVOA. I think they're dead last or one of the worst. Let's see.
All that means nothing to me.
I think they're like the 6th worst defense, 5th worst defense in the league. I think 27th or 20, something like that.
Worst season ever.
Yeah, that's up.
Yeah. Worst season ever. I
guess if I were to ask anything else, it would just be like, if, let's say Vrabel is, I guess I'll ask 2 questions actually. First off, where are we in terms of on a 1 to 10 scale? How likely do you guys think we are to
I put it
right
at a 5. I put Vrabel at a 5 right now. I'm 50-50 on it because
it all 6.
Okay. I think it depends on if the Patriots job comes open. If it goes, the Patriots job comes open.
That's my one thing.
It drops to a 3.
Me and Doug are pretty much on the same page. I was gonna say like a 4.5 or 5 right now, just because I don't think like there's just so many candidates. I don't think we can go much higher. Although we do know that the Jets obviously really like him. Patriots job opens up, that drops down to like a 2.5. I think he would go to the Pats, which would scare me with all their cap space, likely the first overall pick, Drake May, and not ideal. So
I would say right now I have it at a 4.5. So Matt, Doug, and I were pretty much on the same page here. I think a lot of it depends on where Vegas finishes in the order, because if they're in competition for potentially a Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and they're in competition for the quarterbacks, I think that becomes appealing to him. Obviously, his connection with Tom Brady. I think if the Patriots jobs opens overall, I think it drops down to like a 0.5 for the Jets. That is by far the most appealing job on the market whatsoever if it opens. You have a young rookie quarterback who's shown so many flashes. You have a top 3 pick. You potentially – are they winning right now, Matt and Doug?
They're actually back up right now. They're 17-16. And also, like, they're not putting an embarrassing showing today. So, like, I think that was a big thing. I was like saying, if they put out an embarrassing effort, Mayo could be gone. But like I saw, because I live in Boston, so I see a lot of like the TV coverage. There was someone saying, I think it was because Will tweeted it about it on his Twitter. There's Mike Giardi was saying it's going to be expensive. You don't want to get rid of them, and the Patriots are cheap.
Yeah, but if that job opens up, I'd say dumping Gerard Mayo if you're guaranteed to have Mike Vrabel as your next head coach is a great move. Yeah. Over $100 million in cap room, can get as low as the 3rd overall pick, as high as the first. Yeah. So there's so much there, over $100 million in cap room. I know the roster isn't great, but you have so much cap room right now. You could
they can go lower than 3rd though, because if they win and the Jets lose,
I think the lowest they could go is 3rd or 4th. Really.
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. If they lose. And the Jets, or if they win and the Jets lose, wouldn't the Jets be last in the division? Or am I wrong and just don't know what I'm talking about?
Their strength, they have a worse strength of schedule. So
they would stay last.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Okay, so then never mind.
Let me see.
Forget what I said then.
Yeah, no, I will say really the only thing I'll add before I hop off is like I remember calling in a couple weeks ago and I had stated that I didn't know where I was with how I felt with Rex Ryan. And I will say that I have since do feel how I feel about Rex Ryan, and I'm just a no-go. I think when there's a lot of things, honestly, and I think really the biggest thing about it for me is separating the fan from the future and realizing like I can appreciate what he was. And I just think that the game's just in such a different direction. There's just so many like factors when you look at it from a build standpoint. I feel like the only like thing that Rex Ryan makes sense is like it ties in with like the circus thing that's always been a staple of the Jets, would be like a year or two of try to get that last, golden age year out of Rodgers too. And then I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that's the only scenario that somewhat fits. And I don't know. I would love Vrabel. I think if I just really want a proven coach, and I've said that a couple of times, I know already, but that's just what I think we need to have. We need to have somebody that's not afraid to take charge, and like I said, whether right, whether wrong, just it be their direction, honestly, at the end of the day. So, but all right, I'm going to get out of this echoey room because I know I'm not in a good room right now, but thank you guys. And
appreciate you.
We'll see how this offseason goes. Yep. See you guys later.
Of course.
See ya.
Good stuff there.
Of course.
Always from our guy. We got another call, another legend up on the line.
For sure. Filled in for you, Matt, last week on my show for the
there
pregame.
You go. Johnny boy. Johnny, what's going on, buddy?
Matt, Connor, what up, Doug? How you guys
Not
holding?
much.
How you doing?
Oh, just trying to get some stuff done before the game today. Can't wait. 4:30. Woohoo!
Oh, I got a good one for you, Johnny, and the rest of the crew here. So I like Johnny was running some errands this morning with the Jets playing later, and I saw a fantastic Jets jersey out at the supermarket. LaDainian Tomlinson Jets jersey.
Oh, 21, the big 2-1.
Rare to see in the wild. I feel like you don't see too many of those. But he got an appreciative head nod from me for that one.
I thought LT did good things here, but if I had to make a team of all-time Jets past their prime team, he might be my starting running back.
No. Because your first year was so good. It's Matt Forte, and that's the easiest answer of all time.
Forte's a good one, yeah. I mean, I put him on the roster though, because when he came, he was past his prime. Like you still have to acknowledge that.
I would say you could, but he almost had 1,000 yards that year. He was so
really good that first year.
Connor, I know you weren't alive for it, so you don't know what happened. He was so good that 2010 season. He was him and Sean Green. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and then 2011 they didn't like Sean Green.
Even 2011, LT was still pretty good. It just everything else was.
I think he had Sean Green really picked up the majority of the load though in 2011.
Yeah.
Like LT, it was primarily LT. That 1-2 punch in 2010 was so good between LT and Sean Green, and then 2011, 2011 LT still put up okay numbers, but the fall off there was deep. I feel like 2011 was the season the Jets really never kind of got in a groove where they were able to hold on.
That's so not true. Towards
the end of the season. It was
going great, and then there was
2-1 start or something.
That Jesus-loving Colton guy, Tim Tebow, ruined it all.
Look, I tell you guys this much: when I see somebody out here that has the Jets, we do the really good, Jets head nod real fast, right? And then we do the shrug of like, yeah, I know.
What are we gonna do? Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
That's really how it goes. But hey, I came up here because I want to ask you guys a question. What are you guys more excited for? The game today or for Black Monday?
I'm more excited for the clock hitting 000.
Yeah, I want this thing to be over, man. Get me to Black Monday.
Yeah.
Black Monday, yeah. I'm interested to see some news that comes out. And also this week, all these guys are being fired, all these executives, all these positional coaches and stuff. Expect a few more athletic hit pieces, I guess, is my take.
Wait, I'll pose this to all you guys and then I use the bathroom real quick. Do you think with whoever new head coach GM is, there will be any more athletic hit pieces if Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback next year?
No, I don't. I think they go away, depending on who the hire is. If it's like Rex Ryan, then they probably will continue to come out because it'll be like the butt of the joke. But if the Jets have a somewhat normal hire at GM and head coach, I think we see those go away.
I agree. I'm heading off to the bathroom real quick.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
I think we will always have that because of the reporters of the beating. We've been so crappy for so long that I think it's going to be there until we prove them differently. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I want to win. Like, I know everybody's like playoffs and Super Bowl. I'm over here like, please, let's just give me a winning season. Like, I'd rather have that right now, and let's get there. Last thing I wanted to ask you guys really quickly. First and foremost, I want to tell you guys, hey, thank you so much for all the content you guys have been putting up this year, man. This was tough. It was very, very tough. So, every single day you guys were doing stuff like that. Connor would bring in all the people you were bringing on as well.
Appreciate it.
Matt, every day with all the constant videos that you were putting out and everything. I mean, it was bangers after bangers after bangers. I appreciate that a lot, bro, because it made this season somewhat okay as a fan, because it made us feel like we weren't the only ones that were dealing with the crap that the Jets have to go through. But with that said itself, right, what is the one splash move that you would want other than the normal of like Vrabel or et cetera to come out that you could really think you would be like, holy crap, like how did we get him over here?
Ooh.
I'll go Brian Flores. I'm going to go Brian Flores.
I know the trendy name is Ben Johnson, the guy who's going to be the next big hire. It would be because what's his face? Jay Glazer saying if you're able to trade for
that's what I was
O'Connell,
that was going to be my
that'd be like, holy crap! I can't believe we just got the guy who was arguably either the coach of the year or runner-up for coach of the year.
Kevin O'Connell for me.
Yeah, I went with Brian Flores. I don't think they're going to trade O'Connell. I was writing it up earlier today for Jets X Factor, and I was reading up on it further. The owner just spoke with a media outlet over in Minnesota, and he said he's basically going to do everything he can to extend him and the GM. I don't know how to pronounce the GM's name, but I mean their GM is one of the best in all of football, and he basically had no football background until college at Princeton. He was a Princeton economics guy. That's how he got into football and stuff. And now he's one of the best GMs in all of football. His name starts with a K, and it's like a two-legged last name. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Words are hard. It's okay.
For me, I would have to say it's Kyle Shanahan. Ooh. If that was to occur, I would be the happiest dude. And the other thing, if there was a chance in hell that Joe Burrow, some way we could go ahead and I would trade like I
trade my first unborn child for Joe Burrow, but that's not going to happen.
For that dude to be a Jet, and I think we would be fixed that for a while, man. So I say that to say this. Appreciate you guys. Squish the fish. I hate the Dolphins with a passion. I want the dub. Don't get them in the damn playoffs. And let's
sir.
Enjoy this Sunday of the last crap season that the Jets have given to us. New year, new Jets, maybe? Question mark?
I hope so, Johnny. I really do.
We'll see. We'll see.
Offseason champs 4 years in a row, baby.
Let's go.
14 years, baby. 14 years.
Yeah. Oh.
Thanks, Johnny.
Later, guys.
Great stuff. Great stuff as always. Now, he mentioned Joe Burrow there. I've heard Johnny mention that quite some times now. I wanted to get your thoughts here. I'm going to just throw this out. Bengals come to us. They're gonna say, we'll trade Joe Burrow to you if you give us 4 first-round picks and Sauce Gardner.
Done.
Yeah, it's pretty much whatever it takes, right?
Done, because you can't replace a franchise quarterback. And when you see Joe Burrow healthy, you see what he's been healthy. Done. We want you to sell us your kidney, your firstborn child, everything. Done.
Now, what would you trade for Kevin O'Connell? Kind of transition over to I'd trade a first. I'd give up a first.
I'd give up this year's first and next year's second.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And maybe the second's conditional, right? Like it could turn into a first if they go to like the AFC Championship game or something.
Yeah.
The problem with this, I wouldn't want to give up. I want to get high in the draft order without losing today, if that makes any sense. Like we're going to be in the top 10, but I noticed and Connor Rogers said it the other day, and it kind of matched my opinion. Again, I've only done the quarterbacks in this year's class, and the quarterbacks are less than stellar in my opinion. Yeah, they're terrible. Someone I'm really interested in, he'll be there in the top of the second round, Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. His game really intrigues me. He's either my quarterback 1 or 2, quite frankly, in this year's class after watching him. But I just think Cam Ward and Shedeur are going to go so high.
I would rather have Jordan Travis than any of the quarterbacks from this year's draft class.
I don't think you can bank on Jordan Travis taking a snap in the NFL.
I'm not saying you can bank on him getting healthy. I'm saying if he somehow manages to get healthy.
Okay.
I'd rather
they're not good.
I'm not because the one guy, and I think Matt agrees with me, who I really wanted was Allen, but he decided to go back. And people are saying now if they somehow go on to win the national championship, people
I was just going to say that.
Convince them to come out because, like, dude, you're going to be the number 1 pick now. Aller,
then you trade up. Then you got to trade up.
Yeah, because it's. I know you're just saying you're doing this year. Next year, quarterback class is absolutely stacked.
Nussmeier,
Allen, Klubnik, Nico, Arch.
I think Arch is going to stay in school for 2 years.
I don't know.
Unless he's the greatest thing since sliced bread next season.
You see what he's done in a small sample size this year. So there's already something there. And then you have next year where they've already said they're going to Arch next year. And Quinn Ewers has a $6 million offer somewhere to leave in transfer portal.
You think he's going to go back to school again? I know that's off topic.
I think so, because I think people are telling him you're probably like a 3rd round pick right now. If you go back, you'll get more money and transfer.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I take the money. The one guy who's an idiot is Carson Beck. I don't know why he left.
He's going to be a 5th rounder or 6th rounder.
Lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one guy I would take in this year's QB class, I think Matt, but you might not even need him as a QB, is Milroe because of the
upside
of the athletic upside. But you don't even need him as a quarterback. Like, he's just an athletic freak. It's like maybe take a flyer on the guy. That's
he would need. I think he needs to go to like the perfect situation and sit like there. He is an athletic freak, like you said. The accuracy and some of the decision making is
boneheaded.
Like, yeah, I'm a fan of him. I'm a fan of his. I think what you trade. I think what the Jets could do. Their pick is at the top of the 2nd round. If they like him, trade up into the end of the 1st round, so you get a 5th-year option on him. Because I think he's going to need to sit back for a season or potentially 2. Something could be interesting. Let's say they start Tyrod and they have him as a backup, hypothetically. You know, his mobility and stuff. Maybe you could throw in like an offensive package with him, and that could be something fun you work with. Just based on his mobility, like how he runs the quarterback power and all that.
If you're going to do that, I might as well just sign Justin Fields if you're going to do something like that.
I think Justin Fields, there's a good chance I think that Justin Fields starts for this team next year.
I don't disagree. But no, I'm definitely take a QB in 2026 when the class is loaded and there's so many guys there. I'm taking QB in 2026 and get a bridge guy for next year.
I agree. I'm with that. But I saw V-Man had a super chat and he was
there we go.
Yes.
Did you see Gator's sexy Rexy video on
Yes.
I played it during your call.
Yeah, he played it when I was talking yesterday.
So you got to fill me in. What is this video? Because he always does great work.
It's insane. It's Rex, like it's Fat Rex. Because you can't have not Fat Rex. And he's pretty much like he's saying he's sexy Rexy, and he's doing a dance, he's twerking. He's sexy Rexy, baby.
Should we try to get it up on the screen, or that might be copyright, right? Or no? It's on YouTube.
Yeah, it was on Jake's stream yesterday. When I called in, Jake put it on.
I'm gonna try to find the timestamp. Stand by here.
Okay.
It was, as they say, electric.
Gator might be truly the most overall pound for pound talented person in the Jets universe.
Agreed.
Stuff like that are truly unbelievable.
Yeah, Doug, time. You called in when Green Bean was on, right? But after
I called him like towards the later.
It was Green. The show Green Bean was on though. Like for the here it is. I found it.
There you go.
Let's see.
Quick question before you show the video.
Yep.
Out of all the New York sports teams, would you say the 2 NFL teams are in the worst spot right now?
Probably.
Because I know the Rangers and Islanders both suck this year. That's no fun.
Yeah, they've been brutal.
Brutal. But like the Rangers, it's like they have cap. They're clearing cap. So like they're here. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Let's give it a listen.
The Times.
Wait. Can you hear it or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. You can't or can?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Let me.
Sexiness of it all.
I think of 09 and 010.
Oh yeah. You know what time it is. You tried to throw him away, but this man's coming back. Sometimes he's fat or thin. That waistband makes him slim. He's got the fix you need. They call him sexy. Rexy.
Fuck Gruden, he's no jet. I'm here to crack some skulls. I'll turn these boys to men. This team is stacked with pros. Hire me, you won't break your purse. I'm here to break the curse. They call me sexy Rexy. Fuck all you naysayers.
Oh, sexy. Oh, he's such a Rexy, sexy. Oh, he's such a Rexy, sexy. Oh, he's such a Rexy, sexy. Oh, he's Rexy.
Yeah, there's no way I could have described that.
No, there is no describing that. That is some of his best work, as always. Thank you for the chat to let us know.
Of course.
Just a quick score update around the league, if you guys are curious.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Texans are going to win. They're up 23-6. Panthers up 31-24 right now on the Falcons. Saints are still up. Patriots are up 17-16. Yeah, Matt. And then Colts are beating the Jaguars. But that's a one-score.
Jags are driving, though. They're in the red zone. Second and goal
go.
from the 9. Let's go, Jags, baby.
There we go.
So let's hope we get up to 5th today. I'd be ecstatic if we get up to 5th today.
I don't know. You guys are talking about a win. I'm not going to be.
No, I don't want to win.
I can't root for my team to lose, though. I wouldn't be disappointed with a loss, though.
I'm not rooting either way. I think I would be happier with a loss, though. Like, I'm not going to be mad, like, gosh darn it, I can't believe we won. Or I'm going to be like, because
that's where I'm at, though. Like, I'm not going to be saying like this is the worst thing to ever happen. This franchise is doomed if they won this game. But at the same time, what's the difference of going 4-13 or 5-12?
But then Matt, on the reverse, like, what's the big difference between picking 5 and 7? It's 2 guys. I know it like Kurt last year.
That could be the difference between Mason Graham or not, who's like at the top defensive player.
Yeah, I'm just saying in this year's class where it's not seen as a strong class, I don't think there's a huge difference as picking between 5 and 7.
Well, I wouldn't say it's not a strong class. I would say it's top heavy. Yes. I'd say outside of the top 50, like for example, the 2022 class I think is a perfect example of a lengthy draft class, especially like the wide receiver position where you have like Garrett Wilson and Drake London and all these guys. This draft, like I said, is very top heavy. Like there's going to be the top 15. Then after that, I'd say there's like 15 top blue chip prospects. And then after that, it's
I think
loose crumbs.
I think all the guys, I would say almost all the guys who went top 20 last year, you could maybe consider would go before any of the guys who get taken this year.
I think J.J. McCarthy would be the number 1 quarterback in this year's draft,
Easily.
especially the way I don't think McCarthy is good. I'm going to be flat out honest. I thought the situation he had in Michigan was great from a surrounding cast standpoint, but I mean that just goes to show how bad the quarterback class is. I mean Shedeur Sanders, I think the circus that would come with Deion Sanders is a little much. You guys hear the thing that he tells Shedeur now to just like take sacks and not throw the ball away, so he doesn't.
He does have good traits, but he sits in the pocket for what feels like 5,000 years.
Exactly.
He has a little of the Zach Wilson disease
he
too.
Just drops and drops and drops and never throws the ball. And like you see it with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams at least had the athleticism where he would just do all that funky dory stuff. You can't do that in the NFL.
No. That's why you see. That's like Zach Wilson. You can't stick an athlete at quarterback and expect them to just be like a top 10 guy right away.
And this is the reason why Cam Ward came back this year, because last year they said, if you go out, you're going to be like a 6th round pick or undrafted. It's like, come back next year, you got a chance of being a first round pick. But Cam Ward is not a guy who impresses me. Like he was that Miami offense, but he's not a guy I would want as my quarterback.
I like his story though. Like if they were to go quarterback in the 1st round and Allard doesn't change his mind, I think Ward would be their best op. If Allard's there, though, he comes out and he's there wherever the Jets are picking, you have to take him, I think.
Yeah. Oh, if Allard's Allard's not coming back, though, because I think if he's right now.
If he wins a national championship, he is coming out this year.
I still think he might stay because I think the Penn State boosters are going to be like, how much money do you want to stay?
Yeah, but he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. Like, unless the team like the Patriots are picking number 1 overall, where they're just going to take Travis Hunter. Like he's going to be a top 3 pick in the draft.
I just don't see it happening. But I also don't think they're going to win the national championship either.
I mean, who knows? They go on a run here. Anything could happen in college.
Well, if they play Ohio State, James Franklin can't beat Ohio State, so that would be the end of that.
That's true. For sure. Everyone smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. A little less. What are we at? Nice. There we go. Jag scored. Tie game. A little less than an hour here away from kickoff. Kind of let's transition back to today's game. I know we were just talking about the tank. Do you want to win? Do you want to lose? Ultimately, what do you think the outcome for today's game looks like? Obviously, Dolphins starting a backup quarterback and Tyler the Snoop Huntley had a solid game, I thought, against the Browns last week. I think Jets want to win today, get the ground game going. Breece Hall, someone who's basically been disappointing all season long. Why not give us something fun? Rip off a nice long touchdown today. I want to watch fun football today. I want it to be entertaining. That's what I want to see today, Doug and Matt.
I think this will be like the regular season finale from like 2 years ago. Like the Dolphins game from 2 years ago when Flacco was a starting quarterback. It was like 10-9 and just a hideous game, but Garrett Wilson had like 100-something receiving yards. I think it's going to be a similar type game to that where it's ugly. Maybe the score's like 20-17, 20, like a little higher scoring, but it's just going to be ugly.
Yeah, this is a game where I could see a lot breaking right, like in for teams the Jets need to win to move up in the draft order if they were to lose. and then they'll win like 16-13. Rodgers will have the 500 passing touchdown to Devontae Adams in the first half, and they'll win this ugly game.
I have a quick question. How would you feel? I bet Connor would love this. If after, say, first drive, Rodgers, Devontae get 500, they'd be like, all right, Rodgers, you're done. And they just go right to Tyrod.
My dream, my absolute dream. I know that's not going to happen. That would be awful from an optics standpoint. From a game that could be Rodgers' last game ever, and he ends it on the bench. I think there has to be some, like, I don't think the Jets would do that to Rodgers, but if it happens, I'm all on board. And imagine the news they would make after that, and then it would be most likely Rodgers' last NFL game. Why not send a message?
He might want that, though, because he might get killed behind that offensive line.
Yeah.
If he wants that, throw Tyrod in. I mean, the Jets' good guy of the year. Why not? He's better than Rodgers. I seriously think I've said it. I've made my point clear several times. I think Tyrod Taylor gives the Jets a better chance to win than Aaron Rodgers does at this point in their careers.
Do you guys think this is Aaron Rodgers' last game in the NFL?
Yes, 1,000%. He's not getting a starting job anywhere else.
I think he could start in Cleveland next year, but that's besides the point.
Why would he want to go there, though?
They have a good head coach, good offense around him. Look what they did with Flacco last year.
What about Pittsburgh? Mike Florio was saying Pittsburgh this week.
Yeah, I could see him going to the Pittsburgh too.
He would go if it was Pittsburgh.
I think the two teams that are most likely are Pittsburgh and San Francisco. And then San Francisco just says, because it's like, do you want to pay Purdy or do you want to do a year for Rodgers? That's the thing with San Francisco. Because like I don't know if Purdy's the guy or not. Like,
no, I don't know. Especially after this year too. He didn't take that step that they were hoping to make it obvious that they were going to pay him big money.
And I think Sam's going to get a similar deal to what Baker got in Tampa.
He's going to get tagged, 100%. I think, this offseason. I think they'll tag him, say, do that again, and then pay him next offseason. Like, 2 off seasons from now.
Because you saw what Baker got, and it was like the 1 year thing. I think he's going to get like the 3 or 4 year, $100 million deal with like 70 of it guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's like a 3-year deal. That's really like a 2-year deal.
Yeah. Same thing what Baker got, because, I mean, he's been great.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Imagine we never traded Sam. What could have been?
I don't think he would have had success with the staff we had in place, though. I think that's the bottom line. I think he needed a strong offensive system. Like, he showed flashes here, but I think overall he needed a strong offensive system with a great coach and good weapons. And that's what he has.
But people will say, oh, look what Zach people say, oh, now Zach's going to go do that. The thing
no,
is,
he's not.
Zach only showed flashes, I think, maybe in 2 games. You saw it more consistently out of Sam, and Sam was able to do it with way, way worse talent.
Yep.
The game that will stick out to me with Sam was from his first year, that game against Green Bay. That was one of the most exciting games I've ever watched in the losing season.
I was at that game. That game was so much
really?
fun.
He shred the Packers defense alive. And then Chris Herndon, man's memories, had that insane one-handed TD grab.
I thought he was going to be a dude, Chris.
Didn't we all? Because he had like
he was with the Vikings, actually.
Yeah, he had like and Joe Douglas, one of his good moves, he got like a 4th-round pick for him somehow because he was a bum.
The Zach game versus Green Bay in 2022 was fun. They dominated that game too
but
against Rodgers.
But that wasn't because of Zach. That was because of everything else.
Michael Clemens blocked punt. I think that's the only good moment I remember.
I'm talking about there's many games where you can perfect example like Sam's that same year, the game in Buffalo when we had a terrible year, but like Sam went in there, got a win. It's like, oh, you wanted to see like the right things. You saw so many more brights from Sam than you ever did with Zach.
Agree.
Yeah. In all honesty, though, I think the Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl. They are my Super Bowl pick this year. They don't have the most talent in the world, but they've gone out and beat good teams when they need to. They're not the most talented roster in the league, but they have talent and they're a good coach football team.
I'm unfortunately at the point where I've just accepted the fact the Chiefs are going to repeat.
Baby.
Here's the thing. If the Lions somehow get some of their, like they said, Anzalone's coming back today. So if the Lions can get moderately healthy, the Lions would be my pick. But that's a big if because they are just so banged up.
Yeah,
they are. I like the Lions though, and that's who I would be rooting. I'll say rooting in air quotes.
As long as it's not the Chiefs, I just don't want to see the Chiefs
or the Bills. I don't want the Bills either.
Well, obviously, but I'd rather see the Bills in the Super Bowl than the Chiefs because I just want something different. I just don't like getting the Chiefs in it every freaking year.
Yeah, they're not. What are they? 15? What's their record? 15-1.
15-1. But
I think they might be the worst 15-1 team ever
by far. Like their stats say it, and they just haven't been interesting, but they just find ways to win.
From the AFC side, I'd like to see the Ravens go on a run.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they're one of the teams. They showed they can go into Kansas City. I mean, I know it was in the regular season, but they're a team that I think can beat the Chiefs. Realistically, okay, when we go back to this game, I know, again, like I said, this game is like the least important thing ever.
Exactly.
Who are the teams that you think can go into Kansas City and win? For me, it's the Bills, the Ravens, and if the Bengals get in, the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't think the Texans can do it.
Nope.
I don't think the Steelers can do it. I don't think
I would also
Chargers can do it.
I think in the right scenario, the Chargers can maybe do it, but it has to be like they have to get up early.
Yeah, they're a good coach too because they have Harbaugh. I would just say the Bills. I would say the Bills and the Bengals. I mean, Lamar's pushed the Chiefs, but ultimately Lamar's 1-5 against Patrick Mahomes, and their one win came at home. Like they lost by a toenail during week 1, but still they lost. Like, and I don't think they deserved to be in that game. Quite frankly, I thought they played sloppy football, especially in the first half of that game. I think the Bills and the Bengals because I think those are the two who basically proven they could do it.
Yeah,
like the Bills should have won a few years ago before the Chiefs went on that crazy run with like less than a minute left in the game, and it was just like touchdown. That was crazy.
Yep, crazy stuff. And then so NFC. I think the AFC is not as open. I think at the NFC, I could honestly like to see like 5 teams out of the NFC. You can make a case for the Lions. You can make a case for the Eagles. I think you can make a case for the Packers. You can make a case for the Vikings, and then you can make a case for the Rams too.
You can make a case for anyone.
But like a strong case. They're not like
Commanders maybe.
But I would. But with McVay coaching, and he's proven he's like the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Rams seem like a team like they get hot at the right time, and if they ride that momentum into the playoffs, I could see them rattling off some wins.
Also, man, how much fun would it be the Rams thing? They did the F them picks, got the Super Bowl, and in a short time, while still being competitive. Besides the 1 year where Stafford was just killed by injuries,
I thought they were going to be awful for like 5 or 6 years consecutively.
They got themselves a new, young, very good defense. Like the only old guys now are Cooper Kupp, Stafford. Everything else on their team is young as hell. It's crazy.
Yeah. I don't like my whole thing, especially the NFC. You're saying now the whole seeding process is kind of annoying me. Like the fact that a 14-win team is going to be the 5th seed in a conference is really annoying. Like there's been sub 500 teams. I think the Bucks made it into the playoffs. I think 2022 it was with a 7-10 record.
I get. There's one year with that, but it was like the Seahawks, the famous boom. Quick, they're 7-9. They'll never beat the Saints, and then they beat the Saints. I think you should get rewarded for winning your division. I think winning your division matters.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're gonna have like sometimes 6-11, 7-10 teams in the playoffs.
That happens so rarely, though.
It's happened the past few years. There's been sub 500 teams in the playoffs almost every year the past 5 years.
I think there was the Bucks a few years ago who were 8-9, but like still. And then you had the famous one is the Seahawks who were 7-9 and beat the Saints.
Yeah, and the Panthers, I think, got in once at 7-9.
I thought they were 8-1, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I think winning the division matters.
New England's up 20-16, by the way.
Yeah, I have one eye on that one. Falcons just tied it up with.
I have the NFL kind of score tab on over here. Cowboys are winning. Oh, Marcus Mariota's in for the Commanders.
Yeah, that game means nothing. That was just seeding for the Commanders. That game means nothing.
Yeah, I mean, because they won. That was a crazy game on Sunday night. That was such a fun game to watch. I mean, they blew. Poor clock management by Raheem Morris blew the game.
So I'm just saying, if we could go back to 2020, the 2021 draft, we keep Sam. Either A, you trade that haul for King's ransom because the 49ers wanted it, or you stay where you are and pick Penny Sewell.
Yeah, you could have. It's unfortunate that it didn't work. I didn't look. I'm not going to play revisionist history now. Like I wanted the Jets to move on at the time because I thought with Darnold, he missed time in each of the first 3 years. I know he was
the injury concerns.
But there was legit injury concerns, and I didn't feel comfortable giving him his 5th year option. And I understood
that's so fair.
Move on. Fortunately, it didn't work out. Yeah. It took. I mean, it's not like he was great in Carolina or San Francisco either. It took to a third stop.
I always say trading Sam was the right move. It's just you got the wrong guy.
it didn't work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't mind the process, though.
No, if they had picked the right guy, then this is another story. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe the Jets finally nailed the quarterback position.
Frustrating.
I mean, just this team gets a real quarterback in here. So much. The whole thing was a fully healthy Aaron Rodgers this season. That was the whole thing. You get him fully healthy with an 8. Like the roster this year. I think this season could go. I did a column for Jets X Factor. I put it as the most disappointing season after, and then 2023 is the second. Looking back, I think I should have put 99. Excuse me, is the second most. I put. So here it is. I have it here. Fifth, I put 94, the fake spike year, Pete Carroll's only season with coaching the Jets. Fourth, I put 2011. Third, I put 99. Second, I put 23. 24 is number one.
I wouldn't put last year as I think just more. Last year's more upsetting than more so than disappointing because it's just like of the Rodgers injury, and also I think the more we get away from this year, the more of last year looks like an indictment of how much Joe Douglas screwed things up.
Yeah,
because he decimated the defensive line. He got away everything that was good, and like if he just signed a competent quarterback at any point in last year, we would have made the playoffs last year.
Even if you had like a Drew Lock, a Marcus Mariota,
even if they started Trevor Siemian earlier than they did. I'm not saying he would have been great. He was why at one point were you starting Tim Boyle in NFL games?
Yeah, he's terrible. He is. I don't know how he's on a roster still. Like his numbers, he's like Nathan Peterman bad.
I'm not saying Siemian was good, but he was 2-1, and he knew how to manage an offense.
Won the Commanders game. I was at that game actually.
He won the Commanders game and won against the Patriots.
Oh yeah, Patriots game though. They were like back
where
up.
Brees Hall ran for like almost 200 yards.
Yeah, and still didn't. The mathematician or whatever miscounted his yards, and he finished with 994 rushing yards instead of 1,000.
Fool.
That's the like only thing the Jets can do. The stat analytics guy messes up your running back's yard count, but he should have been fired after that.
Do you think if we had fired Salah last year and said, "Oh, you know what, we'll go hire Vrabel right now," do you think this is a playoff team this year?
This year, yes, and last year, no.
They are probably in the mix for a wild card spot.
I would agree with in the mix because you just let's look at all like the signings Joe Douglas did. What would you? I'd say there's only 3 or 4 actual good ones. DJ Reed. Why am I the offensive line? John Simpson. Who else?
Drafted Fashanu.
I'm not saying draft. I was just because draft. I would say draft. He did a pretty good job.
Eccles, Huff. He signed Tony Adams. My guy.
Draft and UDFAs would be good, but I'm talking about free agents.
DJ Reed.
I said that DJ Reed was a hit. John Simpson was a hit. I don't think you could say Whitehead was a hit.
No, maybe Conklin.
Yeah,
and that's even like borderline. I feel
that's borderline. They didn't really try to use him, but like look at all the ones this year.
Mike Williams, Tyron Smith.
Abject failures, like not even close. Failures.
I'd say Mike Williams and Tyron Smith are probably the 2 most disappointing players this year. Because the biggest thing with Tyron Smith is staying healthy. Like if he stays healthy, he's going to play at an All-Pro.
He was healthy and he was booty cheek.
Stunk. Yeah.
Quincy wasn't a free. He
was. They picked him up off waivers.
So if you want to count that as a free agent, I'll maybe JFM then as well. But then he gave up on JFM and gave up literally nothing for him.
Yeah. There's literally nobody. I'm trying to think. Chuck Clark maybe, but he hasn't stayed healthy.
Chuck Clark was hurt all last year and can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's really only if you just want to talk straight up free agent signings, it's DJ Reed and it's John Simpson.
Isaiah Oliver was fun for a few games.
And then that's the barrel we're looking at.
Yeah.
His first move was one of the worst. Remember when he got what's his face? That Panther center to come out of retirement?
Ryan Khalil.
Yeah, and he was terrible. We were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he was terrible."
Yeah.
Oh, good one from Hurtis. Russell.
Yeah, I was just about to pull that up. I'm cutting Morstead. You could save money with him. Sign Rigoberto Sanchez.
And then what's his face? Who was the gunner we had? The special teams guy.
Charles.
No, Justin Hardy.
Hardy.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were talking about right now. Irv is hurt anyways. Yeah, they should have re-signed Hardy. I don't know what they were.
So those are his 4 best signings: 2 special teams guy, a punter, and your gunner, and then a corner, which that one he nailed, and John Simpson. Otherwise,
You can, if you're not counting this season, I guess you could put Greg Zuerlein in there, but you can't put him there after this season.
No, he's been awful.
No, not after this season. But if we were doing this at the end of last year, it would have been Greg Zuerlein.
Yeah, last year, but like this year, he didn't cut him or move on fast enough, and we lost games because of it.
Yeah,
I'll give him credit for his drafting. Honestly, his first round drafting, and then some UDFAs. I would say, look at his drafts. So he started 2020 was the first draft, right? The only guy left in the 2020 draft is Ashton Davis. Am I right?
Correct. And that draft
2021, Mackay gone. Oh, sorry, that's
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson gone. AVT is still here.
Yeah, I'm thinking Denzel Mims, but that's
AVT still here. Mims isn't in the NFL.
Yeah, well, Mims was the Mackay draft.
No.
Yes, he was.
He was?
Mims was second round of Mackay's draft.
Oh, Elijah Moore was 2021. Elijah Moore?
Yeah.
Gone. I can't think of it.
Here's a good one for good free agent signings. I guess Quan Alexander was okay.
And then someone has Quentin Jefferson under it. So, but most of his free agent signings have been terrible. And outside of his couple first round picks, like he hasn't had any hits outside of
Brendan Eccles in the late rounds.
Brees and then Michael Carter.
None of them are. I was gonna say none of the late round ones are on offense.
No,
which stinks.
I mean,
let me try to get it up.
Look at 2020. His 2020 draft is objectively terrible.
Yeah, Becton, Mims, Davis, Zuniga, Pirine, Morgan.
Go from the third.
Well,
round
Michael
down.
Pirine, that brings back some memories.
Go from the third round down. Almost all of those guys are no longer in the. Cameron Clark, I'll give a pass on because he just had a bad injury. That's not fair to him. But Zuniga, not in the NFL. Michael Pirine, not in the NFL. James Morgan was his worst pick.
Horrible.
He was unwatchable.
Bryce Hall is injured again. Sucks for him. As it is. Braden Mann still has his struggles.
Pinnock's in the NFL. He's a good player.
He's a decent safety, but
fifth rounder.
Okay, so 2021 AVT, good. Sherwood and Carter, good. The rest of that Eccles, good. The rest of that class, terrible.
Jonathan Marshall.
2022, the woman that we love. Obviously, the first 4 picks were great. Rucker, I want him to be good, but it's not looking good too far.
He's terrible.
The last 3.
They're all going to be cut after this season.
Terrible. Now let's go to 2023.
Carter Warren, horrible.
Last 4.
Horrible. Barnes. Is Zaire? Does anyone know if
he's
Zaire
hurt?
Barnes?
I think he's hurt. He's on IR. But he was out all of last year. And
he was a decent special team guy. I think.
Yeah.
JBC, depth guy.
Can't stay healthy.
Kuntz hasn't even been in the NFL.
Right.
And then this year.
Too early to we'll say
too early to tell, but Olu, I will say, looks like a great pick. Malachi Corley does not look like a good pick so far.
Nope.
Who they said was on the top of their board. He was the best.
Ahead of Brian Thomas Jr.
Wide receiver 4, baby. How can we
Brian
forget?
Thomas Jr., who was a stud this year. Jordan Travis, I won't say anything because I think if he's healthy, he can be. You just never know he's going to be able to get healthy again.
Isaiah Davis is good.
Yeah, but just seems like a weird pick when you just pick Braylon Allen.
Yeah.
So, and then Jalen Key.
He's not even on the roster.
No, he's in the practice squad, I think. And Stiggers is
on the. Let me check. I'm not even for sure that he's on the practice squad.
So objectively speaking, he's had what?
Jalen Key's on the Bengals right now.
Yeah. People said, "Oh, he was such a good drafter." But if you really look at it, he wasn't.
People ride the coattails of that 2022 class. That's why.
And it's just like, yeah, it's hard when you have 3 first-round picks. Unless your name is John Edzik, it's hard to mess up.
Yeah, you essentially had 4 by selecting Brees there.
I know, but and he deserves credit. But unless you have 3 first-round picks, it's hard to mess up 3 first-round picks. Odds are you're going to get one of them right.
Yeah. I know this guy, Jalen Key, was Mr. Irrelevant this year. I think he didn't make the 53, but you put him on the practice squad. The fact that a draft pick's already on a different team to me is just funny.
That's my point, though. And the people was like, "Oh, the Jets made a mistake firing Douglas." They made a mistake. Did they? Did they really? He was so he was inactive. He was way too proactive, and he was never not proactive enough. He never reacted to a negative situation at all. He just sat on his hands, and like, you know what? It will fix itself, and it never did.
Never did. I mean, I thought he did a good job but apparently now the athletic reports are saying he had no power since February. So like all the off-season signings were Woody. I thought he's done, like, in perspective, from put ourselves back to last offseason, all of us liked all those moves. Tyron Smith, Mike Williams. So those are good moves, but still, you're only as good as your record is. What was it, 27-62 or something?
He has not shown it. Also another signing. I guess it was a good one. I feel like you could give Corey Davis another good signing if you want to, outside of the early retirement thing.
Yeah.
Panthers on
There
the
we
board.
go.
They're up, 38-31 with 4 minutes left to go.
We want them to win, right?
Yes, because then we can get up to 5, I think.
All right, cool.
Which would be great.
And the Bears are up on the
Packers.
On the Packers.
I think Packers are resting a lot of people in the second half. So
yeah, Patriots are winning. Wow, up 4 at the 2-minute warning. Bucks are winning by 1. Wow. Giants are losing.
Day. Crazy day.
Yeah. So how could we get to 3? Patriots win, Panthers win, Jags win, tied game with less than a minute left.
That's how we get to 3. We need the Patriots, Jags, and all them to win.
Correct.
And then us to lose. Wow, there's actually a good shot we could get to 3 looking at the scoreboard right now.
Hold you. And then that's so we can jump the Patriots. And then also
Travis Hunter.
I don't want Travis Hunter. If we get 3, I don't want Travis Hunter. That would be such
I would
a
trade back and get a haul to like 5 or 6.
I would, maybe. Or I know we don't need a corner. I would take Will Johnson at 3, pair him up with Sauce.
I think if you're gonna go with the corner, I'd rather take Travis Hunter.
What about the receiver?
McMillan?
Yeah.
I would take T-Mac at 3. He's ridiculous. He's like the only guy in this draft who I think would have been like a lock first rounder, easy.
He's really solid.
Top 15 last year. Even with how deep his wide receiver class, he's 6'5". His catch radius is ridiculous.
What happens if all those teams lose and then they win, they do their job to help us, and then we win? What would that be? Probably the 4th or 5th pick? Let me check.
I think if we win, we just stay at 7.
Even if all of those other teams win?
Oh, if all those teams win and we win, I don't know, because then it comes down to strength of schedule stuff.
Let me check this out.
Then it would probably be maybe 5th.
Cool.
5th? Okay. Let me check. Checking Michael Nani released a guide on how the Jets can get the pick today. Let me check. So going into Saturday, it says the Jets could have finished anywhere from number 2 to 10. Now their ceiling is 3 while their floor is 9.
Okay.
So no matter what, you're picking in the top 10. So that's good.
Okay. It's hard for me to find where if the other teams. I'd say we're probably 5th or 6th. If the other teams win and we lose, I think that's what's going to happen. I would love to get to pick 3, but at the same time, I don't want to. I think my plan for today is I'm just going to watch the game and just watch it happen. I'm not going to be necessarily rooting either way. So kind of the same stance with you guys as well, obviously. I think it's tough because a top 3 pick is hard to pass up on.
That's what I'm saying.
It's hard to pass up on.
Yeah.
Like we just the things I would do for this team to be good. Like, is it so much to ask for?
No. Just one playoff appearance in 15 years.
All my sports teams are brutal right now.
Who else do you root for?
I'm a Rangers fan. They suck.
Yep, they suck.
I hope they blow it up, and then.
You think they're going to fire Laviolette soon?
I don't know I think it's just the core is the problem, not Laviolette. But like
the young players have been playing well.
Lafreniere, since getting the contract, unfortunately, has not been playing well. The best player this year has been Cooley. I think they're going to trade a lot of people. Keandre Miller, get the hell out. A lot of people want him to get the hell out. If they can figure a way to get Vancouver to make that trade with Mika, get it done by Yasa Luego. I think they're moving up to try because I don't think Colorado is going to be able to afford to pay Rantanen. Mm-hmm. So I think they're making up to do one of the big moves either this offseason or the real dream is next year if Eichel or McDavid somehow don't resign, just throw whatever, give McDavid whatever he wants.
Exactly. Yeah.
Literally whatever. And then I'm a Yankees fan, which I know they were just in the World Series. I've actually liked their offseason since losing Soto, but like it's January, so I can't really do much in baseball.
Pitchers and catchers soon. I think it's like 3 weeks or so.
And then the Jets are a disaster. College teams, I went to Quinnipiac, so I root for Quinnipiac. But like,
hockey's good there.
They have a good. I was just going to say they have a good hockey team.
Yes, I know. They're not as good this year. They did win the national championship a couple years ago. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But all my sports teams just suck the life out of me right now.
Mets, Jets, Nets, Rangers. That's me. Nets terrible. Jets awful. Mets, you gotta hope. And Matt, my expectation for the season, I'm just gonna try to go in without any expectations because what the Jets have shown me this season is you could have sky high expectations, they're just gonna break your heart. So I'm just gonna go in numb for the Mets season, Matt.
I'm buying in.
I'm not going yet.
I don't even think it's a debate. The Knicks are by far the most set up team in New York right now.
Yeah. But they were one of the worst teams in all of sports 5-7 years ago.
And all it proves is you get the right guys in, because look what Leon Rose has done with the Knicks. I'm not a big basketball fan, but he's absolutely transformed the Knicks.
Yeah, they're chanting "sell the team" to Dolan. Now he's like one of the most beloved owners in basketball.
I mean, Dolan doesn't do much with the Rangers, but like that's what you do. You just got to get the right person in there
and let them do their thing.
Exactly.
Let Steve Cohen buy the Jets.
I wish.
Do it. Hey, Woody, like Steve Cohen, make him an offer you can't refuse, and then he'll hire the right person and let them do his thing. And then when we need a blank paycheck for somebody, which is not really the case in the NFL, but like.
It would be different. It would be different overall. Because, yeah, you mentioned the paychecks there. Like baseball, you literally just go out and spend as much money. Yeah, whatever. Now, then football, it's a little more difficult. But I want like Woody Johnson. I think I want an owner I feel who's like really passionate about the team. Like Woody Johnson, it's a business move why he owns the Jets. He's not like I love the Jets. Steve Cohen was a Met fan.
Hypothetical, you own the Jets. I know this will never happen. What's the first move you make as Jets owner?
Without a head coach and GM?
Yeah.
I hire Mike Vrabel and I hire Thomas Dimitroff today.
Matt?
I'd go the Cowden and Vrabel route. That would be
even if he says he's willing to work with any GM, you'd say Cowden?
I don't know if he's willing to work with any GM.
Hypothetically, if he said he'd be willing to work with any GM, he just wants.
Well, I know that he wants to work with Cowden, so I'm going to hire the guy that he wants to work with.
Okay, that's fair. Cowden's with the Giants now, right? Because he's
as an advisor.
To Shane. So I remember, if I'm not mistaken, he wanted Cowden. Oh wow, Pats won. There we go. He wanted Cowden to be the GM in Tennessee, and then they gave it to Ron Carthon, right? And then all hell broke loose from there.
The Buccaneers are going to win too. So
that's good. Oh wait, no, Saints.
Yes and no. Well, because they have 5 wins right now.
Oh, so yeah, they don't apply.
That doesn't really affect us at the moment.
No, not at all.
And then what else? Cowboys game doesn't really matter. Panthers game looks like the Panthers are winning. That one does help us.
What about the Bears?
Bears just went down by a point.
Yikes.
Because the Bears.
Yeah, for sure. Almost as bad as us Jets fans in franchise history. Anyways, guys, looks like we're about, 24 minutes away here from kickoff. Last game of the season. Jets host the division rival Miami Dolphins. Doug, Matt, any final thoughts here before we wrap the show up?
This was a fun stream.
It was an NFL talk stream.
It was great hanging with Doug. I'm going to miss doing these pre-games. I wish that the Jets were better because it would be so much fun if we were talking about like this game with playoffs or something like that.
We all, going into the season, we were all like, you know what, this is going to be that Sunday night game, last playoff spot on the line, Jets-Dolphins winning in. That's what we thought this game could be. Meanwhile, it's nothing. It's a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Season from hell.
Exactly.
And then we're going to be 4 years running off-season champs, baby. Woo, woo, woo.
Let's go.
Now the fun starts.
Yeah, there we go. Anyways, Matt, Doug, this was a great year doing the pregame shows with you as always. Hopefully we can do it again next year. We really appreciate all of your support here on the show, Matt. Hopefully we could stay connected throughout the offseason, do some shows like we did last year. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to both of our channels, at Matt O'Leary NY, at NY Flight Jets Talk. And for the last time this season, that is the end of the pregame show for Doug and Matt. I am Connor signing off. JTS Jets, Jets, Jets.